Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bachelor finale post-show live chat with me, Bachelor Fan Take. How's everyone doing tonight? We made it. We made it through 3 hours of the finale and all of Zach's season, and wow, ended up being a much more dramatic season than I thought it was going to be. Although we did get a sort of traditional ending, just maybe that last little fantasy suite pathway there was more dramatic than maybe we all anticipated, especially with how Zach started the season. But before we get into talking about tonight, talking about everything that went down, of course, got to go over the chat rules. Number one, well, I guess the no spoilers rule can go out the window. Talk about the season all you want, but hey, maybe there are some charity spoilers out there. I don't know. It has started filming. Leave that out of there. But, of course, we will be talking a lot about the ending of Zach's season. Number two, I'll try to respond to as many questions as I can, but Super Chats will get priority. And last but not least, be kind to each other, everyone. All right, so, yes, we got through 3 hours of the finale, which I want to say right off the bat, probably means I'm going to put out the recap video on Wednesday. We won't have a preview breakdown. There's no additional sleuthing to be done for the season. We did get a look at Charity season a little bit, but just a little fun segment they had with her brother at the end there. And yeah, it's going to be a nice, swift live stream and off to bed, and then probably 3 hours, not the normal 2, recap on Wednesday. But yeah, so why don't we start from the top? I know a lot happened at the end there that we want to talk about, but Ariel came out of the gate and very prepared to talk about Zach, and we learned a lot about how Zach handled the news of the No Sex Week, beyond what was just aired on TV. What happened behind the scenes? Who knew about what? And Adam Moyer, thank you for the super chat. If you had to tier rank this season from S to F, S tier, yeah, being like the perfect season. F tier, I don't know. I feel like maybe it'd fall in like a B area. That's just off the top of my head. I'll do a season review probably next week, but my guess would be somewhere in the B area, not quite an A, definitely not an S tier, but B. I think B, and 13. Thank you, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. What happened? I didn't watch. Well, we saw that Zach proposed to Katie, and they are engaged. They're currently still together. They're planning to move into together and a 2025 wedding. Gabby was very upset at their final rose ceremony. She knew, apparently going into it, that she was going to be dumped in a very heartbreaking fashion. She talked about, she even said when she got out of the limo, like, when Katie comes, when this actually matters, Zach apparently, he let her go through the whole thing, even though he knew before that moment that Katie was the one, and I think knew even earlier than that. But yeah, and I don't know, he not the best decision making there. He a little too brutally honest, Zach. He kept saying like, I'm so torn to Gabby, and she's just sitting there like, oh, this is torture. A little too in an effort to just be so honest. Zach was a little too brutally honest, and Gabby was there crying, just saying make a decision. She needed a little bit more delicacy, I think. Zach just, in an attempt to do the right thing, he just, I think, hurt people. Especially when he was so set on, that no sex thing, and then he got caught up in the moment and failed to keep his vow. And SHM Design, thank you for the super chat as well. Good to see ya. It's been a minute. Hope all is well. Didn't watch the season, but as always, watched your videos. Do you think this season improved from the past few? Yeah, I think this season improved from Clayton's season. I'll say that. And I mean, Matt James's season was like so, you know, like it's hard to even judge that season because it was so like covered in controversy and so I mean I don't know how to compare this season to that one, but like, and then going back to Peter's season, I mean Peter's season was iconic, but for all sorts of different reasons. So hard to like compare the two, but certainly I think this was an improvement on, in my opinion, just off the top of my head right here. You know, maybe in a week going back and thinking about it, my mind might change, or really like going through episode to episode and thinking about the season as like a whole and the arc of the season and everything like that might change. But I think an improvement from Clayton's season. But yeah, I don't know. And what do you think? What do you think, Jackson? Well, Jackson thinks it was a snooze fest. So there you go. And Mireille Hernandez, good to see you as well. Thank you for the super chat. I have so many emotions that I'm feeling: happy, sad, angry, wishing the best for Katie and Zach. Same for Gabby. So it wasn't just me with the technical issue. I was getting mad at my TV. Rest well. Yes. Yes. There was also one of the most iconic moments from tonight is that the sound completely turned off during the first part of Gabby and Zach's date, the last chance date, as Zach called it tonight. Actually, the final date before the engagements, the final rose ceremony, and everyone rushed to social media, Twitter, to see if they were the only. I thought maybe like after years of watching this show, my brain just finally turned to mush, and I went, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is how long it took of watching the show for me to, like, the last brain cell gone, sound turns off, because like there was really no sound in my place either. Like my dogs were both asleep, not snoring. It's just sitting there. Everything went silent for a moment. Oh, okay, no, I can hear. Okay, good. Yeah, and I will say, I know we will talk about, I think Zach made some like rough decisions this last. I mean, you know, trying his best, obviously, honest, very honest, but not always the kindest, you know, outcome here. And that being said, you know, I do wish Katie and Zach well. I really hope they have a great relationship. I hope they are happy together. You know, I think it makes sense that they're from the same place. That's great. You know, could have met on Tinder, but, you know, could have met on a dating site, but could have met at a bar. But, you know, they met on The Bachelor, and I really hope them well. It's, you know, I always feel awkward, like, and everyone does it, and I know, like, the track record for the show is zero, so it's an expectation that at this point that they're gonna break up. It like literally it is an expectation because it always happens. You know, the last 6. I mean, like Matt James and Rachel are still together, but they didn't get engaged. You know, but the last successful engagement from this show is like what? I guess Ari doesn't count. You might count the after the final rose engagement, but it's like Sean Lowe is the last successful, you know, purely traditionally successful bachelor. So I always feel weird when people are like, okay, well, how long till they, you know, how long are they gonna last? But you know, they're because they're, you know, legitimately engaged. So I wish them well, and same goes for Gabby too. And I wonder if they rushed the charity announcement because they knew people were going to be saying, you know, Gabby for Bachelorette, if they got to this point without an announcement. That you know, internally they wanted charity, which is not anything against Gabby. necessarily, or charity or anything like that. But one of the reasons maybe they rushed that charity announcement, it came out quicker than normal at the Women Tell All, was because they were anticipating this, and they didn't want pushback of people going like, wait, you chose charity? After this? After everything that just happened now? Or they often bring out the next lead at the end of the AFR. So like having Gabby go through all this and then bringing out charity, people will be like, why not? Or might be disappointed or something like that. In the moment, after just seeing everything. And truly Gabby's, everything she said at the end there, especially how she knew and talking to Zach, was heartbreaking. So it would be hard not to root for her to find love again after seeing that. But and AJ, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Good to see you. Zach didn't handle the fantasy suite well at all. I was so shocked that Ariel didn't know anything. This finale was crazy. Yes, I was gonna bring that up right at the beginning. So it came out on, I found out on social media, on Ariel's Instagram, before this finale, that Ariel didn't know that Zach broke his no sex vow, thing, like while she was standing there at the rose ceremony listening to him talk about, broken promises or whatever it was he said, which was wild. I would just, she seems so like kind of like chill there, and I guess people process things differently. Maybe she deep down she knew, same intuition as Gabby, that it was going to be her going, or maybe she just figured, like, as we saw during the season, that the relationship between Zach and Gabby and Katie seemed to be like a little bit more. She seemed like so, during that breakup, I just assumed that she was told that Zach, Zach made a big deal of coming to Gabby and saying, I'm going to tell everybody, or like I need to tell Katie or whatever it was, and then doing this whole scene with Katie. I just assumed that they filmed one with Ariel as well, but they didn't have time for it. And no, Ariel didn't know, and there's a lot Gabby didn't know either, and so it's kind of wild that there's all this like talk of honesty and coming clean, but he really mainly just came clean to Katie, which I think says a lot as well. He came clean to Katie because I don't know, I don't know if I agree with this, but I saw a tweet, someone's saying something like he came clean to Katie because he always wanted Katie, and being with Gabby felt like cheating because Katie was his number one. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I don't know entirely what my thoughts are on that. Like, I'm still kind of processing, Zach's moves here, because they are pretty wild moves. But certainly I think there was a major guilt factor, major guilt factor that guided his decisions there, and it focused on Katie, which maybe is why he was so honest with her, and not so much, not as much wide open honesty, or at least to the same degree with everyone else, or his parents, who he said, I kind of messed things up, but we're not going to talk about it. Kind of wish he would have had to have come clean. Clayton came clean. Clayton came clean to his parents, at least. And Melissa Berman, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. What do you think about Zach saying it was always you to Katie? I'm not surprised. I think, like, I'm wondering about certain timelines here, because, Zach said he knew, like, what like the night before or something like that, or that during that, like, last chance date or whatever with Katie, that's when he knew it was her. And I think that it was always you kind of thing is a little more true. I think even if there were some doubts that emerged through Fantasy Suites, I think he kind of knew much earlier than that, and but I know that it's hard to navigate because the narrative will be, if I go too far into that, then that means I really messed. I should have ended things earlier with Katie. It's kind of a mean thing what I did, and so I think there's a mix there. And AJ again, thank you for the super chat. I get being honest. I've lied about a lot of things in my life. There was a point where you're too honest to where you end up hurting people. There's a point where you're too honest to where you end up hurting the people around you and yourself, and this has consequences. Agree. Absolutely agree. I think there's it's such a nuanced thing because, you can't be... No one's honest to a T. No one's, fully, completely honest. And honesty is not always the kindest thing. Not always. And, is it better to be, right, or is it better to be kind sometimes? We often will, with our partners or our friends or family or whatever, we will hold our tongues and not say our honest feelings because it's the kinder thing to do. Or we will alter the truth because it's the kinder thing to do. And is that necessarily wrong? I don't think so. I think, there's a point where I don't know if there should be a chart or something like that, where it's honesty and kindness or something like that. Or there's a point where, being maybe brutally honest in certain situations is the kinder thing to do because it's so severely important. At the end of the day, the fantasy suite stuff, having sex with Gabby, I think is important to say before you're engaged because you want to give Katie an opportunity to say, now it's my decision to choose whether or not I want to be with you and not have a ring on my finger when I, find out about this and feel like my choice for this engagement, something so special, is taken away from me. Or now it's this whole, memory of this engagement is ruined or muddied. But maybe not. It's not necessarily the being honest or not. It's about the way you do it too. And I think the way Zach navigated that was really not the kindest way to go about it. And I know Clayton talked about this. He posted something about you have no time to talk to these people. It's only on these dates and things like that. I think that's true. And there are also instances where people have made time like that, or they just force time like that. Pull a Colton, from Cassie's season, pull a Colton and just do something where I need to talk to this person and I need to do it the right way where it's not going to be on our fantasy suite date. And I'm not gonna film anything more unless I get that. And if this truly is about saving people's feelings, then the show will have to deal with that. Or what? You're gonna fire me? Fine. It's I get it's a delicate balance for these leads, and it's high stress scenarios, but it can be done. And Alyssa, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate that. My heart hurts for Gabby. He shouldn't have been telling the women he was going to eliminate. He was falling in love many times. Plus the show cutting Gabby off. Yes, that was another thing. We had 20 minutes of Sean Lowe, and we couldn't get enough time for Gabby. I don't know if I was just I don't know if that was poor planning. So if you didn't watch, they cut Gabby off. They didn't have enough time with her in her segment with Zach. But we got a bunch of time with sit down with Sean Lowe. on this 3-hour finale. And that's another thing. Like, I wonder if, and I don't know, but I wonder if like some of that, like talking to Gabby and reassuring her and telling her, like, he's falling in love with her so many times. I think part of that was the truth. I just think it wasn't at the same level as Katie, and so there is some like dishonesty speckled in there, from an outside eye. But again, guilt. I think some of that came from guilt. I think there was a bit of a turnaround where Zach was, he was feeling all this guilt towards Katie, and then just going laser focused on her, and then suddenly, Gabby was expressing how she was feeling like a second choice, which was a big thing for her. That was her narrative. That was what she spoke about. Throughout the whole season, especially at Fantasy Suites, feeling like a second choice, and and Zach obviously listened because he said that at the final rose ceremony. He said, you deserve a man who chooses you first. Well, in there he was choosing her second after everything. So yeah, it's not the kindest, but also I think at that point there's also not much Zach could do to make things kind for everyone, other than maybe sitting down and processing his feelings and then ending the show before it went any further. But that's a big ask too, and with a huge high pressure show behind you. Yeah, it's just don't make a vow that you can't keep. I hope that's the last vow that Zach breaks with Katie. So yeah. And Adam Moyer, thank you for the super chat again. Really appreciate it. Which of the women would you like to see in Bachelor in Paradise? I think tonight Ariel spoke very well. I mean, I don't know. She came like rehearsed, ready, prepared, good to go, and I think she will be very popular in Bachelor in Paradise. I thought, like usually we see contestants come out and sometimes they're not great speaking. This is live, by the way. This wasn't like edited women tell all where you can make anyone look improved or worse with the edit. This was live. Ariel, ready to go. Who else? I mean, I think Gabby should be there. She's not going to be the Bachelorette, but Gabby, for sure, I think would be like a big name, at least when it comes to this franchise. And throw in Christina Mandrell too. She's stir things up. But yeah, and other than that, like I'm sure we'll see like Brooklyn's a name that comes to mind as someone who seems like a producer like that would be good for like producers will be like, yes, this is someone we want, is gonna make a splash and can couple up or whatever, but can also, drive some drama too. Though I don't know if they'll try to pair up her and Kat, because I think that's well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll bring both of them. Yeah, it's hard. I'm sure there's going to be a long line. Also, and speaking of, I found out the other day, and I'm sure maybe other people knew this, but Demi Burnett going to be on Bachelor in Paradise Canada. That was a surprise for me. Didn't think I'd see her show up, but she's gonna be there. Those are a few names. Certainly Ariel and Gabby are two that I would be. I think should be on Paradise if they want to be. Especially now that Bachelorette's already started. AJ, thank you again. And what do you think about Charity's brother coming on night one in disguise, seeing which man is there for the wrong reasons? I think it's a fun gimmick. I think we've seen, or at least we've seen stuff like that on other shows. I can't remember if we've seen it to this exact degree on The Bachelor before. And I mean, we don't know the exact degree. Is he going to be like a contestant that just stays there night one? Is he going to be around? Is he going to be like a camera crew guy? Certainly, they can't have him there in serious disguise because that wig and mustache looked pretty horrible. Pretty horrible. Yeah, and that's another thing. Is I thought he was just going to show up. Because why would he need a disguise? Like does anyone? No one's watched. Have they watched the show? Maybe they have. Maybe people have watched the show. I guess it's possible. It's possible that some of the guys have seen the show, and know who he is. They've seen To Hometowns. I guess it's possible. So yeah, that was, someone said that's a Party City wig. That it was I could go out to the dollar store and get a wig like that, and the like glue-on mustache that was on top of already his facial hair looked absolutely horrible. There's no way that that's a real that they're gonna try to get away with that. No way. But here, let me just make sure that I didn't miss any super chats. I think I missed Cora. Thank you for the super chat. This season felt very different from recent drama-heavy ones. Do you think they'll keep it romantic for Charity or revert? Thanks for a great season. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super chat. That's a good question. I think a little bit depends on how it ends. So they don't even know that yet. They'll go full on drama if the season ends in disaster. So and it'll be decided for them. Two, I think generally the Bachelorette is more successful and more romantic. I don't know, they do that for, or maybe it's just the way it's turned out. So my gut is telling me they'll try to keep it a little more romantic than dramatic, but we'll see. We'll see. That's my gut. But we'll see. And let me see if I missed any other ones. Going through. I got them all. And Maria Hernandez, thank you for the super chat. Love that you're using Brother in Christ in the vids. Yeah, it's stuck in my mind after the last. I mean, it was the thing in from Bachelor in Paradise, and then someone used it last week. Sorry if it's you or whoever. And now it's in my mind. It's just stuck in my mind. It's like become a Bachelor phrase for me now. But I think you're referencing also. I used it in my Love Is Blind video, which if you haven't checked out, check that out. Love Is Blind back with season 4, and you think things are infuriating on this show sometimes. That man, I was at many points it was a tough watch because of a couple of contestants in particular. So, and there's, anyways, I won't go into it further than that. And we'll keep Love Is Blind spoilers out, please. And Alyssa, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Fantake, this is my first time joining the chat. I've been subscribed for years, and because I'm working 7 to 7, at 3 different hospitals, I never have the time. So great to see you. And, wow, I don't have, I'm always going, I need to get to bed, but that is a schedule, and I really, really understand and appreciate the work you do. I was in the hospital a number of times last year, and a number of times from the same time that you're working, and so I have a great appreciation for that work. People saved my life, legitimately. So, thank you for the super chat, and glad to see you. Hope I can see you again, but I understand if not. But yes. So, what a season! what a season! Ended up a lot more dramatic at the end there, and I fully was anticipating just Zach to do no sex, and they were gonna find their way to some drama somehow, and the big thing would be just the big tension would be who's he gonna pick, and maybe there would be some people upset about oh, I don't feel ready. With we haven't even been intimate yet, but yeah. No, ended up a lot crazier than I anticipated. So as I said at the beginning of the stream, gonna be putting out. It's 3 hours. That's a little extra time to recap, and we're ending things late. So gonna be putting it out Wednesday. Wednesday is when the recap video is going to be coming out, followed by another round of Love is Blind, and then somewhere along the line will be the season review. I'll look back at the full season, and then and then we're on off season. Maybe I'll cover a little bit of Bachelor in Paradise Canada, because there are a number of American contestants from the American franchise you might recognize that are going to be showing up. Probably won't cover it in the same way. And then June 26th, I believe, Bachelorette with Charity at 9 p.m. So get used to this. This is going to be our live stream time come June. Oy. Maybe I'll probably have to keep them short live streams, sadly. Because 11 o'clock, a little too wild. A little too wild for me. We're getting up there. We need our beauty rest. And Ellie Broad 72. Thank you for the super chat. Did you feel like Katie's chemistry with Zach's family was better than Gabby's? It seemed to me like they connected a bit better. Yeah, I think so, but it's also so, it's so hard to judge that. You're on TV, and and the nerves are there, and, the guy you're with just slept with you and told everyone about it, and, and she also just came out of a conversation where she was like, okay, we good? This is not going great right now. This whole telling people things and everything from the rose ceremony. So it's yeah, it went smoother with Katie from the edit, by the way. But I think, yeah, even knowing that these things can be edited better or worse. But I don't know, if I was bringing someone to meet my family and I really like this person, and it didn't go as smoothly as things had gone in the past, would that make a difference to me? No. As long as no major red flags or something horrible was said, or something where you're learning about the person, okay, maybe this is not the person I want to be with. Not the end of the world is what I'm thinking, but it could also be in the same vein. The better chemistry there could be a reflection of that Zach had better chemistry with her, and that was also apparent to the parents. So maybe they felt more comfortable. Also wild that I guess maybe it's something that's easy to not bring up, but Zach's almost dying as a baby. Gabby didn't know about. So, anyways. Yeah, the 9 to 11 is mean. What are the Seniors Bachelor back on? People are talking about the Seniors Bachelor. I think I don't know. I feel like it was 60 plus. Back when it was like seriously casting before the pandemic. From my understanding, with the Seniors Bachelor, what they had going was they had people that they were bringing. They had like cast a few people, or they were like planning to cast a few people, and things that they were looking for were people with married children. So that they could have not only the people connecting, be on the show and have a relationship or whatever, they could bring their families together. So, there's potential, I guess, drama there. People who have children and maybe their spouse passed or something like that, and their children are married with grandchildren or whatever, and they meet other children, and have interactions of this potential new family dynamic and everything like that. So I was under the impression that it was like minimum 60 back then. People saying 65 plus. There you go. But so that's sort of the dynamic that I had understood. And it's like, do you want to be 50 or like 51 and be on, and then be like on the Seniors Bachelor being called a senior? You're like, I think that's a little too young. Not quite a senior yet. And Joss Damone, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Do you think Katie and Zach's final date could have been second, even if they showed it first? Or do you mean Gabby's? Because they showed Gabby's first. Do you think Katie and Zach's... sorry, you mean the final date, not the final rose ceremony. Yeah. Also, what happened to Gabby's forehead on that beach? I don't know. I don't know. I know she had I think some of these things just show up. She's got that like cut, but they only briefly talked about it. Could just be she scratched her head or something. But do you think Zach and Katie's final date could have been second even if they showed it first? Yes, they do that all the time. They especially in these situations where there's no real way to know from the outside from watching the show. They can put it whatever they want. There's no narrative that dictates this person must go first. Last week is different. They have to put Ariel's first because there's a narrative to the order last week that he goes with Ariel, he makes this vow, and then he breaks it with Gabby, and then he talks to Katie. So they can't flop that around, switch that around, or anything. But this, yeah, absolutely could happen. And definitely hometowns is something that you can do that with too. So there, absolutely could have been. Maybe it's the narrative of let's get this Gabby drama right in there, distance ourselves from the Katie good feeling or whatever, and have the Gabby tension at the forefront for when we transition into the final rose ceremony and her getting broken up with. That's I guess it's a the narratively why you would want to do something like that, or why you would make that decision editing an episode, potentially. But all right, okay. It has been a great season with y'all sleuthing, live chatting, and recapping. We've got one more recap coming out Wednesday, but it's getting to bedtime for me. It's Jackson. Jackson has not been. He has not opened his eyes once. This live stream. He's got a new special bed for him there. My other dog Bob is his. he did not even want to move into the room. He was tired. He's on the couch, has not moved. So it is bedtime for me. Thank you all, everyone who watched along with me, and who stayed up here for some extra time to live chat. Thanks to everyone who super chatted. Thanks to Thinkstory for modding. Thanks to everyone who's just chatting in the chat, chatting with each other, keeping things going. And thank you to all of you who are lurking. If you're lurking in the chat, I see you. You're appreciated too. And because the past like few years, I've been watching more live streams to kind of get the gist of what's going on, and I'm sometimes I'm a lurker too. And see you all Wednesday for the recap of the finale, the 3-hour finale, and then again, Love is Blind video gonna be out probably Saturday, because those are coming out Friday, and a number of episodes coming out. So have a wonderful rest of your night, and until next season, we still got more content on the way in between, but until June for next season, for charity season, Bachelor Fan Take out.